Okay, here's part 2 of the news roundup. First up, I've got some news from South America, which is great, from John Gims, who has been super helpful in supporting me with my Telegram channel. Diplomacy is Free. Does far more work than I do. I love him. Anyway, the first picture was of a protest that's been going on in Haiti about some of the corruption that's there, but I didn't get the picture right, so you'll have to take my word for it. Second up, we have Brazilian census reveals country's indigenous people have nearly doubled its previous population count, which is really cool because when populations are increasing, it means that they are happier, and I think that this is excellent. So I'm really, really pleased for Brazil. Kenya's opposition plants dead bodies to accuse police of brutality, Inspector General says. Seems a bit far-fetched to me, Kenya, but there we go. Move was made during recent anti-government rallies, according to Kenya's Inspector General of Police. Again, I imagine that's... it just sounds like a total and terrible spin to me. Maybe some Kenyans can tell me what they think of this. Protests were sparked when the Kenyan Parliament passed a bill that proposed new or increased taxes on essential goods, including fuel, selected food, and mobile money transfers. Things are really kicking off in Africa. Russia and South Korea are to build power plants in Uganda, which is really, really great news. I hope to see Africa electrified soon. This was a video showing hundreds of migrants who have massed at the US border in Mexico. Hundreds of migrants have gathered along the US border after false rumours spread via social media and word of mouth that the US would allow entry to a mass group. Some say they've been waiting weeks to secure appointments, and they were eager to try their luck at the border itself. About 1,000 people clustered around the border just opposite the Texas city of El Paso, some peering through the slats of the border wall, while others sat alongside an industrial train line headed to the United States. Officers from Customs and Border Protection uncoiled razor wire across the railway gate and used tear gas. Wow, so that all kicked off. I do think that when they get this wall built, it will be more beneficial to keep the Americans in than keep the Mexicans out. But Americans, you do you. Germany has transferred more Patriot air defense missile launches to Ukraine. I assume it's cheaper than the scrappage fee. That's all I can imagine. IS militants executed 2 people on suspicion of working for Wagner PMC. Pretty dark, that one. This was terrible. 41 migrants feared dead after boat capsizes near coast. This vessel set off from Tunisia and ran into trouble in European waters after it was hit by a huge wave. Survivors report. 41 of the 45 travellers believed to be dead, including 3 children. I mean, I've talked often about what I think needs to be done about the migrant crisis, and actually it's, you know, stop bombing people is first and foremost. And we need to realise that if we are once again going into Africa to once again cause problems for the people there and literally fighting to stop them from having better rights and better lives, they are going to migrate out of those places. People, as soon as they can, will get out of those places. We cause that. Look at what's happening in Niger. This is our fault. President Putin held talks with President Shavkat of Uzbekistan. I love this. I love that they look so comfortable with each other. I love that, you know, I mean, most people wouldn't be able to place Uzbekistan on a map, and yet there is obviously a deep and cordial respect between these men, which I think is lovely to see. And I think you see that whenever Putin is with a leader, unless it's Emmanuel Macron. More about the Chinese economy. The Chinese exports and imports are falling quite drastically in July, and you know they are on a bit of a downward trend. Now, I don't think that this will be a long-term problem. I think that they will bounce back from this very successfully, but China's going to have to make some some real changes to how it deals with imports and exports, and that's going to impact everybody. So we all need to be aware of that. I imagine a lot of this is also that the countries that have money are no longer the countries that are used to. The European Union launched the campaign End Gender Stereotypes in order to fight against gender inequality as part of the strategy for gender equality. Now, honestly, do we have the money or the time for this right now? Really? Do we? This is all going to be about making people put pronouns in bios and, having gender neutral toilets put in spaces and charging the taxpayer for it. Do we really have the patience, the time or the money for this right now? The EU has chosen to, not the EU, the UK is having a petition, has had a petition, well, a petition's been raised. The government now have to debate it, whether lying in the House of Commons should be a criminal offence. Well, yeah, it should be anyway. No? Should that not be the case anyway? Riot police arrested following death. This is in France. 5 members of the elite raid unit were detained for the death of a 27-year-old man in Marseille who passed away whilst riding his scooter after being shot by a blast ball during the violence. The French police have basically become a little homegrown terrorist army of Macrons, and they have been brutal throughout the last couple of months in France. 4 have been charged, 3 released under supervision. Yeah, go the French. This lovely guy, a TV reporter in Syria, has been killed near Damascus. Things are definitely kicking off in Syria, guys. It's not being reported very much because the West are losing so dramatically, and it's far too obvious from looking at pictures that the West is working with terrorists, but that is what's happening. Oh, Jungle Joseph Borrell, I wonder what wisdom you have to impart on us today. 3 years ago, the Belarusian people were deprived of the right to determine their future. Since then, Lukashenko's regime has stepped up a senseless and systematic oppression. The EU stands with the Belarusian people on their path to freedom and democracy. Freedom and democracy, never of the words sounded so sinister. I think I can speak for the Belarusian people when I say that they are standing as far away from you and your freedom and your democracy as they can possibly get, Mr. Borrell. Iran has sent delegates to Beirut. They are discussing and speaking with Hezbollah about Palestine and about issues in the Middle East. Hopefully that goes as far as it possibly can. We will bomb Lebanon into the Stone Age, says the Israeli Defense Minister. Nice. Lovely, these guys. And that, by the way, is a white European man. That's what that is. And Lebanon is full of Arabs. We have to keep saying that because people keep pretending it's not the truth. United States military presence in West Africa. Over 3,000 additional troops have arrived in the Persian Gulf this month. There's also the conversation yesterday from Bolivian president who said that America is building lots of armed force bases in South America. Spreading yourselves very thin, America. Very, very thin indeed. Maybe go home and deal with your own country. Just a suggestion. 8 Amazonian countries signed the Belém Declaration, and there they all are, looking really happy about that. French president put on the wanted list in Niger. This is on a Sputnik. This is on the African Telegram channels. They've created a wanted for Macron. The World Bank Tuesday said it will stop making new loans to the Ugandan government after concluding that its anti-LGBTQ plus laws contradicts the bank's values. Wow. So now you have to be in the alphabet soup to use the World Bank. That's part 2. There will be a part 3. Check it out. Okay, here's part 2 of the news roundup. First up, I've got some